Episode 11 of Season 2 of The Bad Batch, titled Metamorphosis, was a great model of what a more standalone adventure story for this series can be. We largely focused our time on Clone Force 99 minus Crosshair as usual, doing a mission for Sid as usual, but we also popped by Mount Tantus for some fun teases. And we finally learned what happened to the Zillo Beast from the Clone Wars, so fans can stop asking me about it. I am very happy. The opening scene was fantastic. I loved the dark and spooky atmosphere, which felt very much inspired by the Alien franchise, which is fitting because the smaller Zillo Beast does kind of match the xenomorph design, but we'll come back to that. For now, we head to Tantus to meet a new character, Dr. Hemlock, and he has with him a ship matching the same model as the derelict ship we just saw floating through space. Its cargo is ordered to be taken into the mountain, and Hemlock says more vessels are on the way. So either there are more Zillo Beasts than just the one we saw, or the Empire has other cloning projects that have yet to be revealed. I'm gonna guess that the Zillo Beast is just one of many experiments the Empire has going on because of Hemlock's visit with Nala Se. She says she knows what the Emperor is trying to accomplish, and she refuses to cooperate with it. In Star Wars Legends, Mount Tantus was heavily tied to cloning, among other things, so it makes sense that Palpatine would already be trying to figure out how to clone himself. Without Kaminoan expertise, it also makes sense why his attempts would ultimately fail. Hemlock tries to nicely convince Nala Se to help, but quickly begins to threaten her when he fails. He tells his assistant Emery to have the Kaminoan Prime Minister Lama Su brought to the facility as well, which surprised me. I thought for sure he was killed off in Season 1, but they just locked him up on Coruscant. Emery also informs Hemlock of the missing vessel, and he orders the asset to be contained, and with that we transition over to the Batch. I loved the first 5 minutes of this episode. It set up so much intrigue. What's going on inside Mount Tantus? What happened to that ship? Why is it important to the Empire? We have some great questions to make us curious, and we know all the dangers our main characters are about to encounter, and we haven't even seen them yet. I'm glad to know they might be ready to move on from Sid. She didn't help them when they were stranded the past couple episodes. Malegi from the episode Faster warned them she wouldn't be loyal to them, and he was proven right. Privately, they discuss diplomatically severing ties with her. She does know dangerous information about them, but they're also not planning on sticking around working for someone that treats them as expendable. It's a nice contrast to Crosshair, who keeps seeing how little the Empire thinks of him, and yet he keeps going back. Back to their call with Sid, she gives them intel on the derelict ship and offers them 50% of the cut instead of their standard 30% as a bad apology for leaving them stranded. Wrecker's excited face while she haggled was a nice touch. He would have taken 35 or 40% without question, but kept looking to Hunter to see how he should react. They reluctantly decide to take one last job from Sid and head off in search of the missing vessel. They find it crashed on a planet near a small village. Inside, we immediately jump back to the spooky and tense atmosphere, which makes it so frustrating that they split up, and it's Tech who suggests it. He's supposed to be the smart one. But they actually use their separation pretty effectively to build more tension. We expect Tech to be the one in danger, and they hit us with multiple jump scares as he turns the power back on. Meanwhile, Hunter, Wrecker, and Omega reach some kind of lab full of Kaminoan equipment. It's not long before they discover what the Empire was using it for: a young Zillo Beast. Or is it? I mean, obviously we know it is now, but upon my first watch, I wasn't positive. It looked similar, but not exact. I like that the show still kept me guessing, and that the final reveal was for a good, thematic reason. I love that the creature's first appearance continued to be treated like a horror movie. It keeps up the alien-style atmosphere, and like I said, the younger version of the beast even resembles the xenomorph, until it starts snacking on the ship's energy, which quickly causes it to grow in size. I thought that was an interesting development. I don't remember the original Zillo Beast eating electricity, but it was awakened by an electroproton bomb on Malastare, so there is some logic to it. Tech shoots the power generators, which explode. Instead of harming the creature, he simply sets it loose into the wild, headed for the nearby village and its power facility. Hunter and Wrecker head off to stop it while Tech and Omega research the species to find a weakness. Tech confirms that it is indeed a Zillo Beast, and that's when we see its more familiar form. By absorbing power, it goes through a metamorphosis. It reaches its full potential, or something closer to it. I don't believe it's nearly as big as the creature that got loose on Coruscant. The Empire appears to recapture their lost asset, and they do so without any regard for the lives of the villagers. All that matters is that they reclaim the Zillo Beast alive, and that they keep its existence a secret. They destroy the power station, stun the creature, and use the Claw to bring it into a new research ship. The batch escapes, but clone commandos led by Scorch round up all the civilian witnesses to the event to take them to who knows where, just because they had the audacity to see a problem the Empire themselves created. It's all still very much in line with the Alien vibes of this story's beginning, where the Weyland-Yutani Corporation deemed the crew expendable, hoping to capture and study the xenomorph at any cost. Back on the Havoc Marauder, Tech goes through the research he stole from the Imperial vessel and realizes that the Empire destroyed Camino simply so they could have more control over all future cloning projects, and Hunter asks that the data be sent to Echo and Rex to see what they can discover, causing Omega to smile. The Zillo Beast wasn't the only thing to go through a metamorphosis in this episode, so did the Bad Batch. Up until this point, Hunter has been focused on safety and secrecy for his family. He wants to provide Omega with as normal a childhood as he can, but he has seen more and more that simply isn't possible while the Empire exists. He just witnessed all those civilians rounded up for no reason at all. Like Cassian learned on Niamos and Andor, there is nowhere you can go to escape the Empire's reach. They will find a reason to oppress you, even if it's an accident. The Empire lost control of a ship with a dangerous creature on board. When it got loose, they destroyed a village's infrastructure and then kidnapped the citizens in order to capture the beast and keep its existence a secret. They took no responsibility for the problems they caused. Compare that to the Batch, who accidentally let the Zillo Beast escape, and their only concern was making sure it didn't hurt anyone. Hunter felt responsibility for his actions. That's also part of the reason Echo left the group, because he felt responsible for their part in helping Palpatine pass the defense recruitment bill. He didn't care that it was an accident. He still took ownership for his role and wanted to do his best to help make things right. Responsibility has been a big theme of this season, with Cody telling Crosshair that they all have to live with the choices they make, both good and bad. Of course, he's thinking about Order 66 and the part he played in the destruction of the Jedi Order, even though that was completely out of his control. That was the inhibitor chip. Hunter has always had that same sense of right and wrong, but like the Zillo Beast, I think we're gonna see Clone Force 99 returning to their full potential. I have been frustrated with some of the episodes this season. In one of our live streams, Molly compared Sid to an NPC in a video game offering up side quests. Come race for me, go on a treasure hunt, go work in my mine. None of those stories were bad, but they seemed exactly like side quests. My frustration was shared with Echo, who insisted they could be doing more until he decided to leave and do that on his own. I think we were meant to feel that frustration a bit, so when Hunter decides to start accepting his primary mission, it feels even better. It made me smile, just like Omega. Speaking of her, our final scene takes us back to Mount Tantus. Scorch is ordered to find out who is on the shuttle that escaped their capture, and Lama Su tells Hemlock that he needs to find Omega to properly motivate Nala Se into cooperating with them. Even if they don't know it, all of Hemlock's resources are now directed at Clone Force 99. This episode still had all the hallmarks of a, quote, side quest, but just like the Zillo Beast and the Batch, it was a side quest that went through a metamorphosis into the larger story arcs. Even a little glimpse at what the Empire is up to on Tantus goes a long way and helps me see where things are headed. Like the fact that the Zillo Beast is in Tantus, so when I assume the Batch heads there, we might be seeing it again. That alone is an exciting prospect. I thought this episode was great. Let me know what you thought of Metamorphosis in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel to keep up with all our Bad Batch coverage, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and consider checking out our Patreon page for video reactions and audio commentaries for every episode as well. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.